Hello, Miss Sarah.
Hello.
How
Hi,
are
Jack.
you? Is Miss Sugarard already here? So, from Jakarta. Welcome to the OIC-CERT webinar 2022, Managing Security Operations Center in Government Sector. My name is Jenny Rahman from IDCT Secretariat under National Cyber and Crypto Agency of Indonesia. Today, I will be guiding the webinar and I can't wait to present our panelists who will share their experiences in managing SOC in their countries. But before we start the session, please be minded that this webinar is also broadcasted live from our official YouTube channel, and you can freely share this information to your colleagues, especially those who work in cybersecurity area. Our team will put the YouTube link on the chat box and you can copy it. I also want to remind to all the participants to keep your mic off during the presentation. If you have something in mind or if you have any question, you can simply drop it to the chat box and I will deliver it to the panelists, or you can directly, if you want to, you can directly ask the question to the panelists on the Q&A session. Ladies and gentlemen, IDCT under NCCA Indonesia is the host for OIC-CERT webinar 2022. And this is one of the responsibilities for Indonesia as a board member to implement the strategic pillar of OIC-CERT, that is capacity building. And regarding this event, the liaison officer acts as head of IDCT, Mr. Taufik Arianto, will deliver his gratitude on the opening remark. Mr. Taufik, I pass the mic to you.
Thank you.
Recording in progress.
Thank you, Jenny, for the opportunity. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let us pray and thank the presence of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for the abundance and of grace and the joy of all of us can still gather with any boundaries at all and it's good health in this OIC-CERT webinar 2022 series. Thank you for your time and the opportunity for me. My name is Taufik Arianto. I am Manager of Detection, Operation, Mitigation, Recovery, and Incident Response for the National Cyber Crisis in Indonesia, in National Cyber and Crypto Agency of Indonesia. I also acting as a point of contact of Indonesian National CERT, or well known as IDCT, that is operated under the National Cyber and Crypto Agency in Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, during this opportunity, I would like to express many thanks to the presence of the panelists in this webinar. First, we have Ms. Sarifah Rojah binti Mon Kasim from the Malaysia CERT. Second, we have Mr. Marcel R. from the CERT India. Third, we have Mr. Agustinus Adrianto from the province of West Java in Indonesia. Fourth, we have Mr. Otoli from the Hong Kong CERT. And the fifth, we have Mr. Josh Tardio from the Philippines CERT. I am gladly to welcome to the participants of this webinar that come from many OIC-CERT members in the country. And also, I would like to thank you to participants from the Indonesia Regional CERT Officer. Ladies and gentlemen, cybersecurity become a big responsibility, especially for the agency that hold authority in the cybersecurity area. It is not easy for the government agency to work alone in conducting security effort of national responsibility. There are many uniqueness in conducting cybersecurity operation in government sector, whether it's about budgeting, a proper culture, and even each country has different geographic conditions that might affect the implementation of the technology during the security operation center. In Indonesia, our is archipelago country. Indonesia have more than 50,000 islands that are divided by the 3 different time zones, yet make it it's very unique in implementing the ICT technology. In Indonesia, we encourage regional government to establish their own CERT team and also establish their own security operation center, so that we can more effectively work together in dealing with cyber threat. To manage this kind of cooperation, we need a good management in our security operation center. I believe this movement is not only happen in Indonesia, but also in many other countries, and we want to know and learn from them how it's operation in our country. What makes a country become more ready to face cyber threat today? I'm very honored that we have 5 speakers here to share their experience that we can learn. Finally, I officially open the OIC-CERT webinar with the theme Managing Security Operations Center in Government Sector. I hope all the participants will enjoy the next 2 hours during this webinar. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mr. Taufik, for the insightful remarks. So, ladies and gentlemen, all the participants, today we have 5 spectacular panelists from 5 different countries, and I would like to mention them once again. Please welcome Mrs. Sharifah Rozia binti Mod Kasim from Malaysia CERT, and then Mr. George P. Tardio from National CERT of Philippines.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon.
Mr. Marshall Raj from CERT India.
Kalau dia misalnya nih, dia membayar di tanggal 3 itu ya, terus karena ada kata-kata itu dia nggak boleh ikut, karena tanggal sekarang kan dia anggota.
，Jenny， you are mute。
Jenny, you're still mute?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Okay, Mr. George P. Tardio from National CERT of Philippines, Mr. Marshall Raj from CERT India, Mr. Orderly from Hong Kong CERT. We are so thankful to welcome you in OIC-CERT webinar. I believe all of us can wait to hear and learn from them, so I will call our first panelist, Mrs. Sharifah Rozia. She is the cybersecurity specialist from Malaysia CERT. Mrs. Sharifah, the stage is yours. Are you ready?
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good afternoon to everyone. Yeah, my name is Sharifah. I'm from MyCERT, Malaysia Computer Emergency Response Team. Yeah, I work as a specialist. And I'm also in charge of managing and also looking after the SOC within MyCERT. Yeah. So for today, I think I have some slide, but I could not see the slide. I have, yeah, the slides there. Yeah, okay. Yeah, the slides are here. Okay, next slide. Yeah, okay. So when we talk about security, yeah, I think the previous slide, not this one, the previous one. Yeah, okay. Okay, so I'll just basically introduce what the Security Operations Center, or also known as SOC. So like in general, security operations centers, they are actually set up to protect an organization under its monitoring from cyber threats. So this includes to protect the intellectual property, data, business systems, and also brand integrity. Means that you can have your SOC running within your organization, or you can engage a third-party SOC to help to monitor and also to detect any kind of suspicious activities that are going on within your network. So that's the basic purpose of having SOC for organizations. So what happens in the SOC is that there are analysts where they monitor an organization's network on a 24/7 basis. And whenever they detect any kind of security events, so they have to investigate and make sure that it is really an incident And then once it is confirmed is an incident, then they will proceed to do the next steps to eradicate and also remediate the incident. Because yeah, there could be so many events, you know, there could be mass events, but not every event could be an incident. So what happens is that the associate analysts, they have to carefully investigate and make sure that whatever that they detect suspicious are the incidents and they're not events. So that must be something done correctly and accurately within SOC. So when we talk about SOC, it involves technology, people, and process on how we identify and manage cybersecurity threats. So these three elements are very important for SOC. So you cannot have like only two and you don't have one. You have to have the three of them together to ensure that the SOC runs smoothly, successfully, and able to detect every cyber threats that had been identified during the monitoring for that particular organization. And also while SOCs are undergoing transformation and there are many additional roles and brandings as well. However, the core activity still remains incident response. Means that they detect incident, investigate, and they proceed with incident response to remediate and also involve prevention of that incident from happening again. Yeah, next slide. Next. Yeah, so like as I mentioned, when we talk about SOC, it means there are three elements: the process, the people, and also the technology. So now we will look into each of them one by one. Okay, now we look into the process. So when we talk about process, it's like the process of having an SOC within an organization, or when you engage a third party to do the monitoring and incident response for your organization. So we need to structure and design the SOC. So first, we have to identify and we have to know the different levels and tiers. So it could be that you have tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3. But from my experience, in most cases, there are tier 1 and tier 2. And yeah, and very few have tier 3, but it is your choice. You can choose to have 1, 2, or 3, or 1 and 2. But very seldom 1. So it's either 2 or 3. And then the next thing that you need to consider is that the constituency or the entity that it serves. Are you going to serve a particular government agency, or are you going to serve the whole government sector? So this is something that involves process. So all this must be properly included in the process, and also yeah, the procedures and also the policy that comes for SOCs. And then the next thing is that to identify what type of incident that you're going to deal. You may want to exclude certain type of incidents and only include certain type of incidents. For example, maybe in SOC, you're only interested to investigate anything that relates to denial of service or intrusion or system compromise or anything to do with malware. And maybe the rest of the incident, for example, maybe you identify some kind of a fraud activities or any kind of a hacking attempts or port scanning. So you may want to exclude them. I'm just giving example. So this is something that you can choose to structure and design that SOC, what you want to handle, what kind of incidents that you want to handle. You may not want to handle everything, right? Just you may want to be selective on just certain kind of incidents that you want to handle. And then the next thing that comes under the process is the policy and procedure. Of course, you need to have a proper procedures when you want to operate an SOC. So this includes having a properly documented SOPs on how to run a security operations center, and also on how to handle those identified incidents and also threats within the security operations center. And we have to make sure that these procedures they're always up to date, because there are new incidents, there are new kind of cyber threats that are coming up on daily basis. So your SOP and whatever policy that you have regarding cyber threats, it has to be constantly up to date to reflect the currentness of cyber threats that are happening every day in the cyber world. And then you need to define the SLA. SLA means that service level agreement, means that the response time. I mean, maybe for certain kind of incident, for example, denial of service incident, perhaps you want to have like a very short response time. Means that within 3 hours, anything that you detect as denial of service, you have to take quick action to remediate that incident. So that is kind of a service level agreement. And it also depends on complexity of incident. So maybe if the incident is very complex, you need more people, you need more time to investigate that incident. So your SLA or your response time could be even higher. And also you need to define what is meant by response time. So it's not actually the time taken to resolve an incident. Means that you detect an incident and the time it takes to resolve and close that incident. That may not be the actual response time because that is something very subjective. It may take some time. So the actual response time could be when you first detect the incident and the time taken to respond. It means that an analyst detected an incident and he or she has kind of maybe he has started to do some investigation of that incident, or perhaps he has escalated to tier 2 of the SOC. So there is kind of a actual response time. But this is something depends on the organization or the security operations center, how they want to define that on the actual response time. Another thing that involves in the process is that to have like a clear picture of incident priority, very high, medium, and low. So this is important because if you don't define what kind of incident falls under the category of a very high, so you may end up like, spending more time handling incident that is of a low priority. So we do not want that to happen in our SOC. So you have to identify, for example, you can have like a document or some kind of a white paper, something like that, to define, okay, very high incidents, those are, for example, denial of service, maybe web defacement, for example, maybe data breach. So those could be one example. And anything that falls under high could be malware, could be like ransomware, for example, and anything that is medium, maybe for example spam, or maybe for example hack attempts, port scanning. So we need to define all those things in the process, so that this helps to make our process of handling and also running the SOC more effective and also more successful. Okay, next slide. Yeah, okay, the next element is that people. Yeah, this is something very important. We need people to run the SOC. Otherwise, yeah, it may not happen. Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, so we can choose to have either tier 1, tier 2, or even tier 3. It depends. It depends on what we need, what we require of that SOC. So I just gave some examples. So for tier 1, when we talk about people, of course, it relates very much to their skill and expertise, their knowledge, and also their experience. So we need to make sure that each tier has the right knowledge and also right expertise, so that whenever an incident flows to that tier, they are able to identify and respond as soon as possible. Because every goal and every target of Security Operations Center is that to quickly identify and quickly respond to an incident. So I have listed here for tier 1, you need to have like basic security knowledge and also like networking expertise, and also like some understanding of application level protocols. So these are all like something like a basic level. You need to know this is important. And also you need to have that troubleshooting skill, And so you should be able to differentiate between event and incident. This is important because not everything that is detected or you get alert could be an incident. So this is where you need to have the skill and expertise to be able to differentiate what is event and what is incident. So anything that is not incident could be just discarded, and anything that is incident must be responded immediately. And of course, in tier 1, you need to have some initial investigation skill and also to be able to remediate that incident. And of course, communication skill is very important. So for tier 1, these are the requirements that you need to have. And also for tier 2, it's just like something that is additional, something a bit higher from tier 1. Means that you need to have some in-depth expertise and also knowledge, including understanding of Unix and Windows. I mean, need to have very good knowledge of the operating systems so that when incident happens, so you know exactly where to look into the evidence and also the root cause of the incident. So that is important. And also you should be able to handle complex incidents escalated from tier 1. So normally what happens is that at tier 1, when an incident is very complex that needs more detailed investigation, more analytic work, that is like passed to the second level or tier 2. So at tier 2, we expect most of the incidents should be resolved, and they should be able, they need to have all those skills and expertise that can help them to resolve the incidents escalated from tier 1. And apart from that, they need to have the analytic skill and also knowledge about tools and also critical thinking skills, communication, and also writing skills. So these are some of the additional skills that they need to have on top of those skills that is required at tier 1. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, the next element is that the technology. This is something very important as well. So when you talk about technology, is of course the tools, software, or application that you need to have in order to run SOC. Okay, so we need to consider tools that can actually improve and speed up the detection, investigation, remediation of threats. And also these tools, they're not necessarily expensive. Something that is reasonably priced and includes automation, effective, and also fulfills most of the requirements to run a successful SOC. I know that quite a number of tools out there, they're very expensive. And of course, they claim that they have like so much of features. They can do that, they can do this. But we, or you as the owner or the organization, so you need to make a careful decision on what kind of tool that you want to purchase. Make some survey, make some comparison. What is the best that you can get out of reasonably priced tools? You don't really have to look for those very expensive tools. Something that's moderate that can do most of the requirements, all those important requirements needed for a successful SOC. And of course, when we talk about tools, technology in SOC, we are very much, it is very much linked to SIEM. It's a security information and event management solution that actually aggregate data from multiple sources. And then we can use this data to analyze and also to identify the threats. So SIEM is something that is I would say that something that's quite important and quite needed. It's not something that is mandatory for every SOCs to have, but it is something that is very, very helpful to run your SOC. It helps the analyst to focus on the events and also to identify the real attacks, because many of the things are automated and make things smooth, and you spend less time to do, less important tasks. So this is something, it's good to have a SIEM. And also another one is the EDR, the endpoint detection. It is also something that is quite often people use. It is not the SIEM actually. EDR and SIEM, they work together, they complement each other in order to improve detection, identification, and remediation of any kind of a security incidents identified in SOC. Yeah, and also they can also help to filter, the noise. Of course, when you run SOC, you have so much of noise in terms of the alerts. You can have like huge amount of alerts being generated. So if you have SIM or anything that is automated, that can help to filter all these unwanted noises. So you just work on the real data, the data that is more meaningful for your investigation. It also leverage machine learning and it has advanced analytics. Next. Yeah, so finally, challenges in managing SOC. Yeah, from our experience, resources is something that is very very critical in order to run a successful SOC. And also lack of a budget to replace legacy systems with more sophisticated technologies. Of course, a budget is very important so that you can purchase, the technology, the tools that are needed to run SOC. And also, when you use something that is not sophisticated or tools that are legacy tools, of course, there is a possibility that you may not be able to detect everything. There may be something hidden, unknown threats that you're not able to detect using legacy systems. Yeah. And of course, in terms of people, there's a shortage of skill and expertise, and also challenges in selecting the right technology solutions. Yeah, of course, there are so many tools out there. There are so many solutions out there. So now the challenge is that to choose the best that can work for you. And of course, you have to consider about the pricing and all that. So that is something that you have to make a very good decision when you purchase or when you buy the right solution for your SOC. And also lack of documented or scalable processes. Yeah, some of the processes, some of the things that should be documented in SOC are lacking actually. And also if there are any documents being documented, it's not properly updated. Means that all those SOPs and policies, they must be constantly updated, as I mentioned earlier, so that it reflects the current cyber threat landscape. And also a final challenge is that to sustain and also to run the SOC successfully. Yeah, this is another challenge, yeah, when it comes to managing SOC. Yeah, next slide. Next is my thank you slide. Yeah. Yeah, I hope I have covered in this presentation. And if you have any questions, I'm willing to take up those questions. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Sharifah.
Welcome.
Well, thank you. This is a very excellent presentation. It is a best practice for any government organization if they want to establish their own SOC, and it's also being the best practice for those who haven't developed their SOC. So next, we will have the panelists from the second country. He is the Chief of National Computer Emergency Response Teams of Philippines, Mr. George T. Tardio. He is a professional electronic engineer holding master's degree in information management with more than 25 years of experience. All right, Mr. George, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Great.
Okay, can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, very clear.
Yeah, okay.
Great.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. So, and good afternoon. So, can I see my slide? Okay. First, let me introduce to you the who are we, the CERT is the Philippines National Computer Emergency Response Team. Next slide. So actually, the Philippines National Computer Emergency Response Team, also called the INSERT or CERT, is a division under the Cybersecurity Bureau of the DICT Philippines. Next. We are responsible for, next slide, for receiving and reviewing, responding to computer security incident reports and activities. We also ensure that the systematic information gathering and dissemination, coordination, and collaboration among all the stakeholders, especially those computer emergency response teams, by each sector in the, even the private and public sector, are maintained to mitigate information security threats and cybersecurity risks. Next slides. We are also mandated to provide proactive government countermeasures to address and anticipate all domestic and transnational incidents affecting the Philippine cyberspace and any cybersecurity threats to the country. So in 2020, actually the CERT was officially established. Before, we are just called ourselves as INSERT, but by virtue of Department Circular number 3, we are officially known as the Philippine National Computer Emergency Response Team, or the CERT. So next slide. With that, we are recognized under our Carnegie Mellon University as an authorized user of the CERT trademark, which is launched in February 2018. So why this is important? Because you know, the identity of you are, if you are a national computer emergency response team in each of the country, the identity must is a must for them to officially have some escalation protocol, for example, in terms of incidents happen, and then we, as the national CERT, will, if needed, will collaborate to our partners in not only in the national but in international level. So next slide. I would like to share to you some strategic collaborations with our ASEAN community. So first, we have this coordinated incident response with CERTs or CERTs in the ASEAN region. One example is, we've been receiving incident reports from international CERTs regarding the cyber attacks involving the Philippine cyberspace. So similar to other countries, it is quite common to share those incidents, especially if our country has been involved in this particular incident. The common cyber attacks included in the report incidents are authorized scanning and malicious brute forcing coming from the Philippine IP blocks. Authorized scanning and malicious brute forcing. As a response, for example, we and CERT normally notifies the owners of the reported IPs in particular, so that they can conduct their analysis of the incident and so on. So we have also this mutual notification to promote shared situational awareness on cyber threats. For example, we have this Chubami threat monitoring platform used to observe and detect and monitor suspicious malicious activities in participating organizations' environment, and so on. Also, we are very active in the participation in capacity building initiatives. Since the CERT establishment, we have a lot of trainings in capacity building activities conducted by the Asian member states attended, and also locally. And the most important is our participation in the cyber drills exercises conducted by the ASEAN countries. So we make sure that, for example, in one of the ASEAN member countries conducted a drill, and there are some invitations, we do attend those cyber drills, whether face-to-face, online, because for us, that is very important. In fact, our CII, the critical information infrastructure operators in the country are required to attend those drills being conducted by the CERT-PH. At least once a year. So next slide. So I would like to also to say that we become an official operational member of the Asia Pacific Computer Emergency Response Team in also 2020. So with that, we actively participate in activities and exercises with the Asia Pacific community over the course of 3 months, for example, from September to November 2021. Last year, we have participated in the ITU 2021 Global Cyber Drill, regional dialogues, webinar sessions, and technical training. So those are the advantages of being the member of the EPSR, for example. Next slide. We also officially signified our interest to join the first Suguro Yamaguchi Fellowship Program last December 2021, and luckily we has been accepted in we are in the preparation for applying as a full member. And as you know, the CERT-PH is also a member of the Cybersecurity Alliance for Mutual Progress or the CAP. So next slide. So the CERT-PH actually offers 4 kinds of frontline services. Each services has a dedicated section in the group of who is responsible for the delivery and provision of services to our stakeholders. Incident response team, of course, it handles respond and handle cybersecurity incidents received and detected by the team and provide assistance to stakeholders for remediation. So responsible for monitoring the implementation of the information security incident response plan to ensure that the detected and reported incidents and events are given appropriate and immediate action. So what is important here is for this particular management, the very important is for us to have what we call the operational guidelines policy. For example, what is the immediate what would be the immediate actions once we receive, monitor, or even in the social media if there are some incidents. So it is clear in our operational manual for the incident response. So next slides is just to share some statistics, for example, the incidents that we have handled for the first half of 2022. So next slide. Next slide. So another section of the CERT-PH is the vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. So this is the conduct of cybersecurity related assessment on network and online systems to discover any existing vulnerabilities that can be exploited by adversaries. The results, of course, help inform management and network and system administrators of unknown and potentially vulnerabilities. To those vulnerabilities can be addressed and managed. We offer 3 different kinds of testing. One is the network vulnerability for network infrastructure, of course, which includes asset inventory. Another thing is we have also web application scanning. And lastly, we have this mobile application vulnerability assessment. So far, we do conduct some digital forensics, which is at the moment being this particular section handles those testing. So as mentioned, when we conduct the vulnerability under Department Circular number 3, by the way, the government has the mandate to motu proprio, meaning we can conduct the APT activities to a government network if we suspect to or if there are some issues already at hand. And but most of the time, we do receive some requests of vulnerability penetration assessment and penetration testing from government agencies in the Philippines. So next slides is some statistics on this particular activities. Just for this first half, we do conduct. We received some around 38 DPT requests. But as I said earlier, Motoprobio, we conduct some assessment and so many different government systems and applications, especially this time of pandemic, so around less than 300 in 6 month time. So also next slide, we have this cyber threat monitoring and information sharing, which is task, of course, to monitor, collect, correlate, and analyze data and information from both public and private sources for malicious indicators or behaviors that may impact the Philippine government and cyber state. So we have this daily cybersecurity threat feds, which analyze and process information that are sent to stakeholders tackling the latest cybersecurity news, threats, and events. So that's part of our information sharing. So those advisories and alerts are published to notify and inform its stakeholders with regards to the latest trend in cybersecurity with regards to known and detected vulnerabilities, security events and threats used in attacks and non-threat actor campaigns and procedures. So what is important is also we coordinate with local and international cybersecurity teams and organizations to promote communication, collaboration, and cooperation, and streaming and reinforcing cybersecurity methodologies and techniques. This is actually in response in some calls of our, for example, in some other countries, there is a need to institutionalize the information sharing, especially those this kind of threats. So next slide is just to share some statistics. For example, sa threat monitorings, we have more than 1,500 monitored threats, some cyber threat feeds delivered, and advisories posted within 6 month period. So next slide. And of course, we have also this Security Operations Center, which serves as a centralized facility for detection, monitoring, and rapid response to security incidents in like connected agencies. So in the Philippines, there are agencies that is directly connected to our SOC, which is when you are connected, you are well monitored, meaning all the known threats, possible threats, even in the what we call the 0-day threats, has been manned under this national SOC. This SOC is this is the country's cyber resiliency initiative as a national platform for intelligence sharing to comprehensively monitor threats and defend the country's infrastructure in the ever-increasing cyber threats and cyber attacks. So next slide is the components of this cybersecurity management system platform. So as shared by our Malaysian counterpart earlier, our national SOC has this 5 major capabilities or features. Of course, we have this core system components technology, which is composed of a network advanced threat detection, endpoint protection, management tools. We have this artificial intelligence and machine learning for the operation of our security operations center. So we have this threat protection system uniquely combines intelligent and the multi-vector attack detection, automated investigation, deep forensics, and actionable response, all in one in a pre-integrated platform. So we have this with information gathering system, which collect useful and publicly available information passed for preemptive and defensive measures and threat hunting. And This is also equipped with vulnerability assessment and penetration testing, so that automatically scans and identify vulnerabilities in IT assets as proactive measures to minimize potential risks, specifically for those department or agencies connected to the system. And one of part of our emergency response is our portable, or what we call mobile security operations center, which is performed also as a small-scale threat protection system to detection and monitoring of threats. So we deployed that portable SOC, for example, in specific agencies not connected to our SOC, national SOC, for that particular purpose. So next slides. So far, as of now, we have this 10 connected government agencies, and some major incidents detected so far. It is almost 2,000 incidents as recorded. Next slides. So some graphical representation, and next slides. This is in the threat protection system created by incidents. So our system is being some sort of a user-friendly. By the way, it's very important for us. Even the fair one security analyst should really understand this, or be ready to prepare some reports similar to this, as our principals from time to time needs this kind of information. So next slide. So important thing is the conduct of the annual National Cyber Drill. As mentioned earlier, we do this annually. The rise of cybersecurity threats in the world, for example, poses great risk to our nation that it has become a matter of national security. Hence, these threats from attackers inside and outside the Philippines demand attention and immediate response. So in order to deal with this emerging challenge and to achieve cyber resilience in our country, effective communications and coordinations must be attained. The CERT PH conducts an annual cyber drills exercise for that purpose. To share a few next slides. For the year 2021, CERT PH conducted a series of cyber incident drills for critical information infrastructure sectors. This initiative shall help us assess the capability and readiness of those sectoral coordination, professional for cyber incidents. These are conducted to simulate real-world cybersecurity incident scenarios. There are a lot of exercises, help assess, improve the participating organizations' incident response time. So as you notice, because of the number of participants, we do schedule this as by sector, although we call this annually, but for example, for the energy sector, for the transport sector, and the bank and banking. So we are conducting by sector. So just to accommodate those sectors nationwide. So I think that is my my presentation, and I will answer some questions. I think in the later part of the program there will be some question and answer. So my next slides, I think, is thank you slides. Fine. Next slide, please. That's it. So again, thank you very much, and good afternoon.
All right, thank you very much, Sir George. It's only 6 months, but it's already a tough year, right?
Yes.
I wish you really have a good and hard working.
Yeah.
Good luck for you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much from Philippines. Next, we move to the third panelist. We have Mr. Marshall Raj from India, Soc India. Hello, Mr. Marshall. Yes, okay. Can you please talk so I can check if your voice can be heard?
Can you hear me?
All right. All right, let's go. All right, The mic is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Very good afternoon to all the participants, and I thank OIC-CERT for this opportunity. On behalf of CERT, we thank you all. And can I have my slides? My slide, yeah. Can you please share my slides? Yeah, thank you. So I'm a scientist working in the Indian Computer Emergency Response Team, CERT. We are, next slide, please. Next, please. Yeah. So I would like to cover what CERT does in the Indian cyberspace and how we are managing a SOC and the best practices which we advise for others in managing a SOC and what we have done for supporting the SOCs in government agencies. So this is what I wanted to cover during this presentation. Next, please. So CERT has a legal mandate in India. So it was established in January 2004 by the Department of Information Technology. And CERT is mandated by the Information Technology Act 2000, which was amended in 2008 as the national nodal agency to perform different functions in the area of cybersecurity, which includes collection, analysis, and dissemination of information on cyber incidents, forecasting and alerts of cybersecurity incidents, and emergency measures for handling cybersecurity incidents. And also we perform coordination of cybersecurity incident response activities. And also we issue guidelines, advisories, vulnerability notes, white papers on cybersecurity best practices, procedures, and measures for preventing and responding and reporting of cybersecurity incidents and other related functions which are related to cybersecurity. And also we are mandated to provide cybersecurity training to our different stakeholders of CERT. Next, please. So the different functions of CERT, we provide both proactive as well as a reactive service. We are operating 24/7 incident response help desk, which performs evidence collection and incident investigation. We also provide a cyber forensic support for law enforcement agencies in the Indian constituency. And proactive services, we provide incident prevention and security awareness. We regularly track the cybersecurity threats and the cyber attacks. We also perform vulnerability remediation coordination with vendors and OEMs. Now, we are a CV numbering authority with MITRE, and from last year we are performing this activity. And also we provide, we regularly issue cybersecurity alerts and advisories for organizations and users based on the feeds which we receive. And also we provide tailored alerts and threat intelligence to CISOs and other responsible cybersecurity professionals in different organizations. And also we conduct cybersecurity workshops and cybersecurity awareness programs to our stakeholders and different organizations in the Indian constituency to create awareness of about cybersecurity. Next, please. And along with that, we also provide security quality management service. So we try to promote security best practices and security standards to be used by the different organizations in the Indian constituency. And we perform empanelment of information security auditors who perform security audit of critical information infrastructure organizations and different private organizations. And we also conduct cybersecurity mock drills and exercises at a strategic as well as operational level. And also we have developed a cyber crisis management plan for different critical organizations as well as for government agencies. So these are things we have done for ensuring the security quality management. And also we perform cooperation and collaboration with the different industry as well as academia. And also according to the new national cybersecurity policy, CERT is acting as the umbrella agency under which the sectoral CSERTs and state level CSERTs. So in India, we have a federal government system. So we have around some 28 states and different and many union territories. So we are trying to establish the sectoral CSERTs and state CSERTs, which are run by the governments. So we act as the guiding agency for them to establish their CERT. Next, please. So we are having different stakeholders. So we interact with the LEAs, we interact with academia, we interact with service providers and provide guidelines and for taking down operations. And we interact with government organizations, private organizations, security companies, industry. And also we collaborate with different international certs and forums like First APSET. We are also participating in drills organized by different organizations like ITU, OIC, and different. We also conduct cyber security drills for our local organizations. Next, please. So coming to the cyber security incidents handled by certain India, as you know, it's a very large country. The number of cyber security incidents are always on the rise, and we are handling the number of incidents handled by certain is increasing almost by 150% almost every year. And this year also we are facing a rise in the cyber security incidents. Next, please. So the threats landscape observed by India, it varies as we are facing different incidents like ransomware incidents, malware, botnets, and social media incidents, APTs, phishing incidents, data breach, data leaks, many fake apps, and which are more targeting on different digital payments, and also many digital payment threats we are facing. So these are different threats observed by certain in the Indian constituency. And in order to, as the threat landscape is very large and as the threat size is increasing, so there are different SOCs. We are having government SOCs for each organization are having SOCs, and there's a states we are having the SOCs at state level as well as at private organization level. And as we are the umbrella agency for establishing sectoral as well as state level CERTs, when we provide them guidelines on how to establish a CERT, how to establish a SOC. So based on our experience of establishing a CERT and how yes, SOC is being established by different organizations at government level, and also at state level, at sectoral level. I just wanted to present how we approach and manage SOC. Next, please. So when we go for a SOC management, first we go focus on what is the need for a SOC and what all the things you need in a SOC, and who will be doing what are the each operations in a SOC and how to do it. So these are the things we focus mainly on SOC management. So first was on what is the need for the SOC, and next is what are the things needed for the running of a SOC, and who will be involved in running the SOC, and what are things you have to do for successfully managing a SOC. Next, please. So coming to the need, first we try to analyze what are the challenges and threats that sector or the government agency is facing. And then we try to focus on the different SOC deployment models. What kind of deployment models will be, whether it will be an external deployment model or a virtual model or an internal model or a co-managed model. So we try to focus on which kind of SOC deployment model will be an ideal deployment model, SOC model for that sector or the agency. Then we try to focus on what kind of working hours will be necessary for that for that SOC, whether it is going to be a 24/7 SOC like as how we having in certain, or in case of a 8 hours a day for 5 hours for 5 days in a week kind of SOC. So we focus on what kind of SOC. Initially we recommend the SOCs to be established for 8 hours a day during the weekdays. And then we focus on what are services the SOC is going to provide. So we guide them on what are the things like what are log management services, how they're going to operate. Those services we try to define for the SOC, and we advise them to start from the basic services a SOC can provide. Next, please. And what are things you need when we go for a SOC manager establishment? First, we focus on the budget. How much fund is required by them, whether they have the sufficient budget to meet all the services, and how they can manage with the fund that they're having. So those things, the budget is one of the key criteria when we are managing a SOC. So to meet out the manpower, to meet the requirements of cybersecurity tools, to have the necessary infrastructure, budget is a key factor which comes in the management of a SOC. And when we are coming to the tools, we recommend them to have some basic tools which can provide log collection and management, and all to collect the different logs from different firewalls and different things. And also we recommend them to have a security information event management tools, which will be trying to provide a holistic view of what are the different events that are taking place in their environment. And also it is recommended for them to have an endpoint detection and response tool, as well as in some cases we advise them to have an extended detection and response XDR tools, which will be trying to provide a complete view of the different events that are taking place in their environment. And also at advanced level, we suggest them to have user and behavior analytics tools, and also we advise them to have threat hunting and threat intelligence tool, which are at an advanced level of SOCs. Initially, it is suggested to have only the basic SIEM tools, and at a later level, once they get developed and matured, they start developing threat hunting and threat intelligence setup in their environment. Next, please. And who will be the people who will be doing that? So there are different kind of things, people who will be present there in that SOC system. So we can categorize them as at four tiers. The tier 1 will be a triage specialist, and at the tier 2 will be having an incident responder. At tier 3 will be having the threat hunter, and at tier 4 will be having the SOC manager. So for a tier 1 specialist who is a triage specialist will be having the basic system administrative skills, programming skills, and some security certification courses and relevant courses for cybersecurity. And coming to the tier 2, who's the incident responder, we try to focus on whether he's having the capability to respond to an incident in a calm way, and to focus on how to respond that, whether he's having a good idea on the incident response procedure, and having a better idea of the different on prioritizing the incidents. And at tier 3, we focus on the expertise on data analysis and penetration testing tools. And as SOC manager, we focus on having strong leadership and communication skills, and also the ability to coordinate with the different teams. So these are the skills we try to recommend to the different SOCs for the different people. Next, please. So when we establish a SOC, managing a SOC, we first suggest is to have a well-defined roadmap with the timeline. So what are services has to be established at each point of time, and how they will be gradually expanding the services provided by the SOC. So when you have a well-defined roadmap before the establishment, we can gradually increase the services provided by the SOC, and how they will be expanding their services. So those things will be achieved well if you are having a well-defined roadmap. And also, apart from the tools, it is also required to have sufficient manpower to support the technology tools. Although we can have tools for performing different operations, it is also required to have a very good manpower to support the information that is being collected or analyzed by the tools. And the main thing for a successful SOC management is to have a very good collaboration between the teams. So you'll be having different teams, and the teams should have a good collaboration between them, so that they'll be having an idea of what is happening actually. And the main thing is on the training and awareness part. The persons who are deployed in SOC must be provided continuous training, and also they must be provided awareness on the different cybersecurity threat landscape which is evolving. So this training can be an in-house training, or it can be an outsourced training. And also we'll be recommending to increase in automation to reduce the staff burnout, as SOC is a very tedious job. So we try to automate as the services as much as it is possible. Next slide, please. So the basic requirements, skill sets that are required for SOC members. The SOC members who are involved should have some basic knowledge on the CM implementation and how to administrate and how to integrate that with different applications, and to have the knowledge on CM, how to do proactive monitoring and how to do reactive monitoring, and also the knowledge on incident handling and incident response. And also they should have the basic knowledge on the management of security events. We also, as we provide also forensics operations, we also suggest them to have some knowledge on the digital forensic part. And as threat hunting is also an important part of SOC management, it is also advised to have the people with skills who have skills on threat management and also on malware analysis as vulnerable. And also we try to check whether the people is having a knowledge on vulnerability management and also on cyber security auditing, who can be able to perform the networking testing as well as web penetration testing, and also a knowledge on assets of maintaining the internal external security devices, and also compliance with the policies. What are the different policies are there, and what are the policies the organization has to follow, and the knowledge on the policies of the organization and the knowledge on the policies of the government and how they are complying with that. These are the skill sets we try to focus on and recommend when people are recruited for a SOC. Next, please. So these are some of the best practices we recommend the SOCs to. First thing is to have an identity and access management system, so that to enforce an optimal authentication authorization restrictions for both physical and remote access to their environment. And we always recommend the staff to be provided a threat awareness and mitigation training. And also we recommend them to identify the organization's cybersecurity policies and what are the legal and regulatory requirements and whether they are complying with that. So we always advise them to regularly monitor their compliance with the other policies. Next, please. And also we recommend them to have a strategy for managing the supply chain risk. So which guides them on making the decision making according to their priorities, what are the constraints they have, what are tolerances and assumptions. And also, so we also recommend them to install continuous security monitoring capabilities to assess the implemented measures and how they are prepared and what is and to assess their ability to monitor the cyber threats. Next, please. And we all suggest them to periodically review the existing strategies and current cyber threat intelligence and to focus on what are new improvements that are available to be done, and on mapping how their cybersecurity strategies, operational process, and technical specifications meet the varying requirements. As the organization's requirements will keep on varying with time, how their strategies and technical specifications are meeting the current requirements. And we always recommend them to have a periodic audits and have a gap assessment to ensure that they are following what are the best practices are being missed and what are the best practices they have to be implemented, and to ensure that they are operating with all the best practices in place. Next slide, please. So as Certain is a national audit agency for cybersecurity, we provide some guidelines and support to all the SOCs in the government agencies. We have the cybersecurity assurance policy where we empanel cybersecurity auditors to assess the different government organizations as well as private organizations. We have a cybersecurity assurance policy through which we empanel cybersecurity auditors where we assess their skills and we periodically review their skills, and these empaneled auditors will be performing the audit of critical government organizations. Next slide, please. And also we have vulnerability disclosure and coordination policy, so which will be encouraging responsible researchers to report about the vulnerabilities to Certain. and we will be whenever we are receiving any vulnerability reports about for any which are related to critical government organizations, we immediately validate that report and assess that, and we inform the government organizations to take the necessary remedial measures to protect their infrastructure. Next slide, please. And we also, as I mentioned earlier, as we regularly provide cybersecurity trainings to different government, public sector, and critical organizations, and also from different private critical organizations such as financial and banking sector on a regular basis. And also we educate them on the latest cybersecurity alerts, and we on whatever threats on if on also we also now provide trainings on creating the awareness programs, especially on insider threat management, as insider threat management is a key area which has to be focused in SOC management. We also focus on insider threat awareness. So these are things as CERT we are doing for the management of SOCs in government agencies. This is the thing from my side. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you for your presentation, Mr. March. All right, let's go to the next panelist. Ladies and gentlemen, as the opening remarks that Mr. Taufik Arianto mentioned that Indonesian government agency, we are actively encourage the regional government to establish their own CERT. And today we have Mr. Agustinus Adrianto from Agency of ICT of West Java Province in Indonesia, which always have been our best role model in cybersecurity development of local government in Indonesia. And Mr. Agustinus Adrianto has been in ICT field since 1993 when he started his higher education in Bandung Institute of Technology. So he must be very experienced in this field. And please welcome Mr. Agustinus Adrianto from Indonesian Local Government ICT Agency in West Java Province.
Hello, Jenny, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, very clear.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Okay. My name is Agustinus Andrianto, and I'm from West Java Provincial Government. It's a pleasure to meet you all today. Can I have my slide, please? Yeah, thank you. I would like to take this opportunity to talk about managing Security Operations Center in West Java Provincial Government. I'll start by introducing West Java Province and its local governments. Then I look at the establishment of our team, the CSERT and SOC team, and then I'll talk about team structure, tasks, and how we manage and strengthen our team. And then finally, I will discuss the CSERT and SOC implementation and the support from the central government to our team. Next slide, please. Yeah, let me start with some general information about West Java Province. So the West Java Province is one of 37 provinces in Indonesia. Its area is not too wide, only 35,000 kilometers square. Yeah, it's about 1.8% of the Indonesian area, but there are so many people living here, about more than 49 million people, and the province of West Java divided into small area called regency and city. We have 18 regencies and 9 cities. Also, each regency and city then divided into small areas called district, and each district then divided into smallest area called suburbs and villages. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is our organization structure. Yeah, I'm working at Communication and Informatics Office of West Java Provincial Government. My office is one of almost 40 offices that included in West Java Provincial Government. On top is our head of office, and there are some division here. One of the division is Crypto and Information Security Division, where I work. And the official main task is to conduct local government affairs in communication and informatics sector, including e-government, informatics application, public information and communication, crypto and information security, and statistics. Next slide, please. Yeah. So we initiated the team from 2015. Yeah. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah. Yeah. Move to next slide, please. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. So we re-established the team. Yeah, based on the letter of Head of National Cyber and Crypto Agencies, the Department of Government Institution as a pilot project to form Computer Security Incident Response Team in 2020. Next slide, please. Yeah, so the establishment is in 2020. We established our team. National Cyber and Crypto Agency appointed our institution, West Java Provincial Government, as one of the pilot projects for the establishment of Computer Security Incident Response Team in 2020, based on the maturity level of cybersecurity incident handling. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is our CERT term, but yeah, currently we have two teams that manage the Security Operations Center and work in the SOC room. One is CERT team and the other is SOC team. Some person who are member of one team are also members of another team. That's why I also talk about CERT team here. On top is Regional Secretary of West Java Province, which is our top leader. And then below him, it's General Administration Assistant as Chancellor. And our Head of Communication and Informatics Office, she is a chairperson, and we have 4 teams here. The first is Incident Response and Recovery Team, and then Incident Handling Team for ICT infrastructure. Then we have Incident Handling Team for application, and Incident Handling Agent in other department. So this last team is any person in other offices or other agencies that also participate and in incident reports. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah, this is the letters to other offices from our office to establish the incident handling agent. Next slide, please. Yeah. So how we strengthen our team? Here there are 3 aspects. First is technology, and then people and process. In technology, we have many tools like web application firewall, and then firewall, endpoint protection, secure email gateway, secure information and event management, SIM, and network performance monitoring and diagnostic. And then we also have people aspect here. We do some activities for security awareness, and also we conduct some cybersecurity training. And the last aspect is about the process. We participate in some assessment, security assessment, like information security index and IT security assessment. We also have been implementing information security management standard, which is ISO 27001 2013. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, and also we have SOC team. The main task of this team of Jabar mean West Java Security Operations Center is to implement security monitoring on all assets in the West Java Provincial Government's data center. And when an incident happens, Jabar Prof-CERT coordinates with SOC team to ask for the analysis result. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah. So this is some tools that we are using. First is system information and event management, and by that tool we can analyze cyber incident. We can monitor malicious activities on application server at West Java Provincial Government Data Center. Another tool is vulnerability assessment tools. We can scan for new and existing threats that can target your application. Then other tools that we have are firewall, yeah, for monitoring and filters incoming and outgoing network traffic. The network security tool to analyze mirroring traffic and its signature from the department's core suite. Also endpoint security for scanning for files and malware, and also web application firewall. Yeah, this tool is used to analyze malicious activities blocked by web application firewall. Next slide, please. Yeah, our team make regular report, monthly report. Yeah, since 2020, we submit the report to our head of office and also to coordinator. Yeah. Next slide, please. Yeah. This is our SOC team structure. On the front line, yeah, it is tier 1 for alert analyst. Yeah, the job is to monitor and report if an incident happens. Then it can be escalated to tier 2. Yeah, this team will analyze the report or the monitoring result. And then we also have tier 3 for SME hunter, subject matter expert here that we consider have some expertises in some areas like networking and malware, endpoint security, and yeah, the others. And then in the center, we have SOC manager that manage our team. Next slide, please. So this is the task for each of the position. For SOC director, she doesn't do some technical matters. So what her responsibilities are to give instruction and guidance regarding preparation and implementation of each OC programs, and then supervising SOC programs implementation. And for the SOC coordinator, it is our head of division. She leads SOC management, and then she's also responsible for LOC activities, coordinating SOC activities, and other tasks that relating to coordinating with some parties and also about our activities. And then we have SOC manager. He manages resources so that personnel, budget, schedule, and technology strategy meet service level agreement. And he communicates with management, gives instruction for SOC operation and suggestion for all security strategy, and also make monthly report about SOC activities. Next slide, please. Yeah, we have tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. So for tier 1, he or she is alert analyst. the main job is to monitor and alert queues, and then determine security alert, monitoring security sensors and endpoints condition, collecting data to be processed by tier 2 analysts if the escalation happens, and then reporting tier 1 SOC activities monthly. The monthly report is also done by tier 2 and tier 3. For tier 2, it is incident response analyst. They main task is to analyze the data, analyze the monitoring result, or if incident happen, yeah, they analyze about the cause and about the solution of the incident. Their task is conducting in-depth incident analysis by collecting data from various sources and determining incident scale on impacted system or data, and then giving consideration about corrective action, recovery, and planning follow-up actions based on lesson learned from the incident. And in tier 3, it is SME hunter. She or he is acting proactively as an incident hunter and getting involved in the development process and the implementation of threat detection, analysis, or review. Next slide, please. Yeah. So how we upgrade our team member competency? We have some regular activities. For example, we have Monday Information Security News. It is a weekly agenda to raise information security awareness in the form of digital content. And also we have monthly webinar for upgrading team members competency. This is not just for our team, but also for government staff. Sometimes we also offer public to also participate in our webinar. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, we also conducted some activities like training and certification to upgrade the team member competency. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah. So this leads me to my next point, which is the implementation of Jabar Prof G-CERT. Next slide, please. Yeah. So to support our activities, we have some tools like cybersecurity information. It is a website. Yeah, it can be accessed on cert.jabarprof.go.id, and then we have reporting tools here. One is for office agents and the other is for non-office agents. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah. And how we manage the incident? Yeah, there are some types of incident like web defacement or data leaks. Next slide, please. Yeah. So, yeah, for incident handling here, to about web defacement incident handling. So we suggested some actions like close public IP temporarily and then redirect impacted applications or websites to under maintenance page, and then backup data on impacted applications or websites, clean impacted applications or website from malicious file, and then perform information technology security assessment. It's okay. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, we also coordinate with the central government. So in this case, the BSSN or National Cyber and Crypto Agency for incident handling. Yeah. Next slide, please. So another incident is data leak. Java Prof or West Java CISO team coordinate with all stakeholders. Yeah, we suggest them to immediately take mitigation with some recommendation like install antivirus or anti-malware and scan the application with deep scan mode or scan the entire drive, change password for all end users, use multi-factor authentication on login feature, and disable unused application. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, we also coordinate with a team from central government called Bantuan 70. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, and we also have some collaboration with some parties. Yeah, they are central government and then regional government in some cities or agencies. And then we also have collaboration with private companies, with communities, and also with academic. Yeah, we have some collaboration with some universities in our province. Next slide, please. Yeah, let's now turn to the central government support to our team. Next slide, please. Yeah, there are many supports the central government give to us, like communication check, yeah, OIC-CERT, yeah, communication test and technical workshop. Yeah, it's held monthly, yeah, since January 2022, and then they also supports in training on cybersecurity incident technical readiness in local governments. Next slide, please. Yeah, and also we had some consultation and coordination with National Cyber and Crypto Agency. Yeah, next, please. Yeah, also they provide support for hardening our website. Yeah, next slide, please. Then, yeah, these are our achievements. We participate in some assessment, yeah, like information security index, incident handling maturity, or crypto practice compliance. Yeah, and usually we have good scores on this assessment. Next slide, please. Yeah, we also get reward for best vulnerability and risk assessment, and also we still maintain our standard, which is ISO 27001 2013. Yeah. Next slide, please. Yeah. Yeah, okay, that's all I have to say about managing SOC in my institution. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Andrianto. Thank you for your great presentation. And now we finally arrive in the last presentation from our fifth panelist. People always say, save the best for the last, and not gonna lie, this panelist is airing from Hong Kong, and he is the deputy head of Hong Kong OIC-CERT, who has more than 20 years experience of ICT field. Mr. Orderly, with focus on cloud security, data protection and privacy, and incident response. And he is also the vice chairman of Cloud Security Alliance of Hong Kong and Macau. Please welcome Mr. Orderly.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Thank you for the invitation for the from the organizer. Jenny, can you hear me clearly? Okay, good. Yes. Would you please help to show my presentation deck, please? Yeah. Thank you very much. Once again, thank you the invitation from the organizer, especially Jenny. I am Otoni, Deputy Head of Hong Kong OIC-CERT. Have been working for around 20 years in information security and cybersecurity. Before joining OIC-CERT, I worked in AWS, Amazon Web Services for several years, and was responsible for the security assurance in APAC markets. For example, Indonesia, Malaysia, New Zealand, Thailand, and Taiwan, and the launch of a new region in Hong Kong in 2019. as other panelists, and next slide, please. Thank you. As other panelists has talked much about the SOC, so today I will talk about Hong Kong, sir, current status in Hong Kong, and what we are doing to raise cybersecurity awareness and capacity in Hong Kong. Next slide, please. Let me talk about Hong Kong first. Next slide, please. Firstly, let me introduce HK-CERT. HK-CERT is the center of coordination for local enterprise and internet users. HK-CERT was founded in 2001, and we provide 24 hours hotline. In last year, we have published around 400 security advisories. Next slide, please. HK-CERT coordinates with local bodies to collect and disseminate information, and also coordinates response actions. We provide advice on preventive measures against security threats and promote information security awareness. HK-CERT is also a member of FIRST and also AP-CERT. We exchange information with other CERTs and act as a point of contact on cross-border security incidents. Just as FIDIM-CERT, HK-CERT is also the operating member of AP-CERT, and we also joined the annual dual exercise of AP-CERT. Next slide, please. The service and support by HK-CERT can be grouped in three main areas: monitoring, education and technical advice, and research and insights. We collect and analyze the attack patterns, provide early security alerts, organize free seminars, and produce best practice and guidelines. Next slide, please. We also understand the importance of training up cybersecurity talent. So since 2020, we have organized a Capture the Threat Challenge, CTF, to have the participants to solve various cybersecurity tests to assess and train up their skills within 48 hours. Last year, there were close to 1,000 registrations from three groups: secondary, school, university, and open group. And this event has been the largest CTF in Hong Kong. We also invite overseas teams from South Korea and mainland China to join this CTF, so as to broaden the view of local participants and to make this event more international. As you can see in the screen, the final results show that the level of local teams can be comparable with overseas teams. Apart from this, we include Hong Kong elements in each game. For example, for last year, each question was associated with a local song, while this year we plan to associate which questions with a place in Hong Kong. We need your help to promote this HK-CERT CTF to your local teams. Next slide, please. And next slide, please. Thank you. Let me talk about the current status in Hong Kong. Next slide, please. Thank you. Let me have a very quick review first. In 2021, HK-CERT has handled more than 7,000 security incidents, 7% less than 2020. The majority one is phishing, with more than 3,000 cases, and the number has been increasing for 4 years. The second top one is botnet, also more than 3,000 cases. Among the phishing cases we handle, more than 70% of them were related to e-commerce and online banking. Next slide, please. Thank you. Now, let's talk about the outlook of this year. In February, education expected the following 5 items will be the main security risks this year. The first 3 are securities related to cyber, related to cryptocurrency, metaverse, and emerging technologies. The rest are supply chains and target and organized cyber attacks. Among 5 of them, the top 2 are compare new. Next slide, please. In response to the challenges that I covered just now, education has provided well response, and let me put them into 3 main areas. The first one is some preventive security advice. For example, beware of flash phishing attack, beware of multi-extortion ransomware. The second one is about some cyber security alert. For example, Log4Shell and Spring4Shell. The last one is some reminders of emerging information security risks. For example, NFT. Next slide, please. As it is important to have the internet users and local enterprises in Hong Kong to know about the importance of cybersecurity. So based on what we are seeing when we monitoring the overall cybersecurity posture in Hong Kong, we try to raise the cybersecurity awareness and capacity in Hong Kong. Next slide, please. In every quarter, HKSEC create a Hong Kong Security Watch report. Here is the one we released for Q1. This report provides the figures of various types of cyber attack in Q1. It describes the major security incidents, the popular security issues, and some easy to implement security measures. The purpose of this report is to raise the public awareness of cybersecurity, and the most important is to enhance their ability to deal with various kinds of cyber threats. Highlight of the Q1 report is in Q1, the cybersecurity incidents involving Hong Kong decreased by around 5% compared with previous quarter. However, the web defacing incidents increased by 21%, mainly because the admin did not patch their systems. This report also in Q1 also talking about the NFT, talk about the benefit of smart contract and something we need to pay attention to, and also the popular Java Spring framework, the vulnerabilities. Next slide, please. HKSEC also publish guidelines and articles for the public and the agencies to refer to. For example, guideline for cloud storage security, data protection, remote access service, VPN, and home office. We also publish some articles for emerging technologies. For example, zero trust, smart contract, NFTs, QR code phishing, and IoT. Especially QR code phishing, we are seeing really not only in Hong Kong, but for the region, it's also going up very quickly. Next slide, please. In order to allow public, especially for those without enough IT resources, to know about cyber security easier, we will out this one-page 7 habits of cyber security on most important areas. For example, endpoint security and also instance handling. Next slide, please. In order to allow the local companies and or the agencies to understand their current cyber security level further, HKSEC has released an online cybersecurity self-assessment tools based on the 7 habits of cybersecurity that I mentioned just now for the company or the agency to assess themselves. In the last few months, there are more than 116 companies and agencies has used it, and the average score is 15 out of the full mark 32. The top winners is the firewall does not have the default deny rule. Firewall allows any internal network to access the internet. Firewall allows remote access. And also there's no any due done to restore the backup. The last one is very important is because when some companies contact HK-CERT after they got ransomware, they told us their backup cannot be restored or they even don't have any backups. Next slide, please. HK-CERT also create a one page called Fight Ransomware in our website. It tells what ransomware is and how to prevent it. Apart from prevention, the trusted decryption tools for some ransomware has also been included. Next slide, please. HK-CERT also collaborated with different local parties, including different industry sectors. For example, recently, we have shared with finance sector, retail sector, and telecom sectors about some cyber security advice. Particularly, HK-CERT also launched what we call Healthcare Cyber Security Watch Program in order to promote the cyber security awareness in healthcare sector, including public and private hospitals. Healthcare cyber security group has been set up for closed group discussion of the members. Regular face-to-face meetings are organized by the group. For us, HK-CERT acts as the facilitator and generate quarterly reports to the hospitals. Similarly, HK-CERT is also setting up a similar cyber security group for critical infrastructure for the closed group discussion. Next slide, please. As of March 2022, there were over 314,000 SME. SME means small and medium enterprise in Hong Kong. They account for more than 98% of total number of enterprise, and they provide the job opportunity up to 1.2 million persons, more than 45% of total employment, excluding civil service. Why we want to reach out to SMEs? According to the SME instance that we handle, SME has few resources spent on IT or cybersecurity. For example, they only have 1 or 2 staff for IT, but they have no resources for cybersecurity. So when they got infected with ransomware, they have no idea what to do. So in the last few years, HK-CERT has been providing many free resources to the public. The SME are not aware of them as they are less responsive to emails or social media. So HK-CERT reached out to SME through engagement with the association in Hong Kong, so that to let the SME aware of our service and various resources. We also arrange webinar to share with them about the latest cybersecurity threats and the corresponding advice. Next slide, please. We also develop an incident response guideline for the SME by telling them how to prepare, prevent, and handle the security incidents. Next slide, please. In order to empower SMEs to enjoy the threat intelligence without huge investment, based on the intention that Hong Kong has, we provide the ROC, just as the URLs and IP address for the SME to make use of. Since we know that those SME do not have much IT resources, so once they configure their firewalls to download this IOC automatically, then the firewall can block those URLs or IP address that are affecting Hong Kong. This is next slide, please. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much. And now let me to pass the time back to Jenny. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Lee. Okay, all participants, that's our 5 panelists from 5 different countries. I hope their presentation give very insightful and fruitful presentation. Now it's time for us to get into the Q&A session. If you have any questions, you can just drop in the chat box, or you can directly ask your question to the panelists by raising your hand so I can see you. All right, while we're waiting for you, I already received a few questions in my inbox, direct message. Maybe they are too shy to write it down on the chat box. So the first question will be to Mrs. Sharifah Rozia from Malaysia. The question is, as we know that the weakest chain in cybersecurity are human, what can be done to increase public cybersecurity awareness? That's the question for you, Mr. Shah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for that question. Yeah, we know that the weakest link is human, and there are many cyber attacks that actually targeting human beings. For example, in the case of a social engineering attacks that definitely target human, yeah, by impersonating as a valid entity such as bank, or like their ISPs, pretending to be from the ISPs or from the bank, sending emails to customers saying that yeah, they want to doing some kind of updates and requesting the customers to change their username and password. So this is an example of a social engineering attack that happens in phishing incidents. So what can be done about this? Of course, we have to continuously educate the public, the people, and also the end users about the security awareness, about current cyber threats, and also how to prevent from becoming a victim of cyber attacks. So I think in this case, the government, the CERTs, national CERTs, ISPs, vendors, and also for example banking sectors, so like everyone play their part in educating the public, the users, on how to prevent themselves becoming a victim. So user awareness and user education is very important in order to prevent the users becoming sort of a victim in a cyber threat and also in cyber attacks. And also another thing is that as for awareness, for the users, we have to equip ourselves with all these basic tools that can prevent from becoming victims. For example, having antivirus software in our PCs, and also keep them up to date to prevent any kind of malware from infecting your computers. And also another thing is that in social media, we should not like share too much information. So just like, keep things limited and under control, not to share everything, because the cyber criminals and also cyber attackers, they're very active, looking for whatever information that is available about people, about human, and they manipulate this information, and then they target the users, and that's how many cyber attacks happen. Because in many cases, the endpoint, the source of attack is actually from end user. So it means that the end user gets an email, for example, phishing email, and then gives out their username and password, and that's one of the entry point in which the attackers, they can get access to an organization's network and also system. So the education awareness is very important for users. So that's my view on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sharifah. I agree with you that the security awareness is have to be conducted again and again, even with the same issue like phishing, like security awareness about phishing warning, right? Phishing warning can be different each and every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on the what's trending in this world. Like when in Indonesia, such as Indonesia, we had Formula E, the competition. There might be a new kind of phishing that can be, yeah, our team members can be fall into that kind of phishing. Yeah, so any kind of educative program and security awareness should be conducted regularly.
Yes, and also like just to add, it must not be like just one person or one entity that play this role in a country. That it should be like, different players should work together. For example, in Malaysia, we have like we collaborate and we work together with ISPs and also law enforcement agencies and the vendors in order to educate the public about security awareness and also update them about current threats, current cyber threat landscape, and also how to prevent from becoming victim. So it's something that is a collaborative work that must be done within a country, and also at global level. Of course, we work together. For example, through the API-CERT community, OIC-CERT community, and also in even a wider community like FIRST, National C-CERTs. Yeah, it's something that that needs a big community to play the role. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Sharifah. Let's move to the second question. We have Miss or Mr. Tosca. How can we measure the maturity level of SOC? Is there a best practice that can be used? And how many years do you think the maturity level of the SOC should be measured? The question is to all the panelists, but I think it will take a long time. So I propose the panelists maybe from India, Mr. Raj. Would you answer this question from Tosca?
So the maturity level of SOC, we can have different maturity levels, depend upon the level, how you aggregate the data, what are the services you are providing. Depending upon that, we can classify the different maturity levels of the SOC. So, and if you want to suggest best practice, it depends upon the services we are defining for the SOC. Some SOCs may not be needing all the services. So the maturity level, it depends upon your constituency in which the SOC is being established. That is one thing. And for best practice, it is always preferable to have a well-defined timeline. So if you are having a well-defined roadmap and timeline, and if you are abiding by that, then you can achieve the maturity level in a reasonable amount of time. And then coming to the next part of the question on how many years, it depends upon the services you are going to offer. If you are going to offer all the services, if you are going to offer including vulnerability management, threat hunting, threat intelligence, it must be taking a minimum of 5 years for a well-established SOC. You must be needing that. And also the maturity level of a SOC cannot be defined only just by the servers. It also depends upon the business you are doing. It depends upon the technology you are using. It depends upon the number of people that are being deployed in the SOC. So all these factors must be considered when we are assessing the maturity of the SOC. So it depends upon your constituency, and it also depends upon whether you're meeting out all the services required by your organization. Yeah. That's it.
Right. Thank you for the answer, Mr. Raj. All right. So I think for the third questions I have in my direct messages, the question is for the Philippines. Okay, this is interesting. From the data displayed, the malware incidents has the biggest amount occur in the Philippines. What is the right strategy to solve this problem? Wow, I think we all have this problem, but let's see what Mr. George will say.
Okay. Can you repeat the questions? What kind of threats are the most?
Yeah, malware incident have the
Okay, malware incident. So
yeah. So
okay,
the right strategy.
okay. Actually, regardless of the kind of incidents that we have received, it is a lack of magnitudes that really concerns us. One of the best practices there is really to coordinate with the concerned department or individual for this particular situation. Now, once we first we analyze what particular threats is it. There are lots of luckily there are lots of proven resolutions for that issue. Now the challenge is those incidents or personnel from those particular departments is not yet well versed or aware on this how to solve that. So that's where the incident response came in. So an active and very efficient incident responder is a must, especially if you are in a national SOC. So if it is in a magnitude, then a strong collaborations and the prioritization of the national CERT is there to answer those situations.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. George.
And if I may, for the questions on the building SOC maturity. So in addition to if we have this kind of facilities in place, what we are talking, we are referring now is the process. First, if maturity level is, of course, we have these correlations. We have this what we call security information and event management system. There are a lot of events, threats, incidents. What kind of categories that? So correlation, we have to build correlation on the first level, and then some sort of automation to the next level. And after that, then we might have to integrate those services and responses for the operation of the SOC as a whole. So we know that there are facilities in place, but in terms of the processes and automations that we're considered that as our maturity level measurement in our case. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. George. Okay, in the chat box we have Teresa. Teresa is asking to all panelists, but I think let's just choose one panelist. Managing SOC is a newly job in government sector, especially in Indonesia, or maybe Teresa is from Indonesia. Most of people who are willing to work on that area is young generation. How the government in your country convince the young generation who have skilled competence on ICT to work for government, which we know the trend is they probably interest to join the big company or startup company. All right, I think maybe Mr. Lee could answer this question.
Oh yes, Otto here. Let me try to answer this question first. First of all, luckily, HK-CERT, because has been in Hong Kong for more than 20 years, we do have the brand in Hong Kong. So, so this is one of the elements to try to attract the young generations. Secondly, the reason behind why we want to organize the CTF, because we want to attract the young generations. We want to attract them that when they are still in the university or even when they are still in the secondary school, they start to know the cybersecurity. They start to know about Hong Kong CERT. So this is some way for us try to attract the first grad from the university and then to bring them to the HK-CERT. Honestly, what I'm seeing in here, they are normally the young peoples, the young generations. They may not be working for too long, but in another way, I don't mind to have HK-CERT has the environment to train up the young professional cybersecurity in Hong Kong. And then afterwards, they can join other big company. It doesn't matter. The most important, we want to bring the whole Hong Kong the cybersecurity tenants. So city is some of the method in Hong Kong we are trying to attract the young generations should come into education. So thanks.
All right, thank you, Mr. Otto. I hope it can answer the questions. Or maybe other panelists have other opinion. All right. How about from Indonesia? Mr. Adrian?
Yeah. So working in private sector, maybe it's more attractive than working at government sector. Yeah. I think the main factor is about the salary, but we in West Java provincial government, we raise the allowance and our salary. So our salary and allowance is mostly equal to the private sector. So many of the young generation want to be a civil servant like us, and also we have some collaboration with private company that owned by young generation. So we have some collaboration with universities, cities, and the lecturer can also ask for their student to help us. Also with some communities, like White Hiker, and then also we can hire them. We have a team called Jabar Digital Services or West Java Digital Services, and we hire like more than 100 young generation to work there, not just for about the security, but also to do many aspects of IT. And then we also improve our human resource procurement through various selection. So to ensure that the young generation or the best person will sit in the right position. Yeah, that's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, Jenny, I have some feedback.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, I think yes, definitely young people, they like to move to the private sector, mainly because they offer very good salary package and perhaps other good perks. But I think what the government can do is that they can provide kind of a environment, like a learning ground for the younger generation, that they can use the opportunity while working in the government to learn something new, to gain the experience, to collaborate, and also to interact with other government agencies. And then from there they can learn more. Yeah. So I see that the government can be like a learning ground for them to learn about new threats, learn from other peers and other experts, which most probably the opportunity may not be so much available when they move to the private sector. Yeah, that's my feedback.
Yeah, cannot agree with you more. But I think in my young generation, I believe that young generation still have pride in their heart as someone who work for the country, like, being a good guy. That all we can do in the government agency is to give a good environment that to make them feel that working in government is not so old school, right? Right.
Yeah.
Mr. Amin Rawa from Discominfo, you can open your mic, Mr. Amin. Even you can open your camera. He will ask him directly. Mr. Amin, you raise your hand. You want to ask question? Mr. Amin Rawa? Okay. Maybe it's just accidentally. We still have one more question here. All right. I think I want to have this question for the Hong Kong, Mr. Orderly. The government, a government agency with national responsibility, that we know that we cannot work alone and coverage the cybersecurity in every sector. And you said in the presentation that you collaborate with many sectors, like such as healthcare, finance, critical infrastructure. How do you make effort in approaching the other sector to collaborate with government? Because I know it must be a very hard effort, especially when we have to approach the private sector to collaborate with us in cybersecurity.
Yes, let me to share a little bit. Let me to take the healthcare as an example. When we firstly launched the healthcare, the cybersecurity group, actually we need to go to each hospital. We need to have a face-to-face meeting with them to understand their concerns, to understand their challenge on cybersecurity. And then we build up the trust. And then the next step, after we meet all of them, and then the next step, we arrange a group meeting for all the hospitals in Hong Kong, both private and public and private. And then we ensure this is the closed group discussions. And what we are seeing in Hong Kong is when we are in a closed store, and then every party, they are willing to share different kind of opinions, even the intelligence within the group. And then after that closed door meeting, and then we set up different kind of social media, the platform for us, we all connect together. So when one hospital, they are seeing some cyber threats, and then they just share in the platform with other hospital and also share with us. Similarly, for us, when we are seeing any cyber threats in Hong Kong or in the regions, we also share with them as well. So that's why currently we only have two groups. One is for the healthcare. The other one is the critical infrastructure, because we really spend a lot of time. We need to engage with them, build up the trust with them. Yeah. And also we are seeing critical infrastructure and healthcare. They are the two sectors is very, very important to Hong Kong. Yeah. For the CI, every country is the same. CI is the core that we need to protect with. At the same time, healthcare sector, especially under the COVID, we need to protect the healthcare sector as well. So yeah, it really spends time. So that's why even for the finance, it is too large. So what we can do, we can't go to every bank and to meet up them. It spend a lot of time. So we use another approach, just as we set up a platform, and then to have all the banks, if they are interested, they just join the platform, and then for us to share some intentions with them. Yeah. So this is the approach that we are doing. But again, there are too many things. So we want to do something is the most critical, the most important. That's why we put up healthcare and critical infrastructure first. Yeah. I hope this answers your questions.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Orderly. All right. Maybe that's all our discussion session. It's already 15, okay, nearly 16 p.m. here. So I think that's all our session. I would like to say thank you to the panelists that attending this webinar today. I know that thank you is not enough, but we are so grateful for your contribution, and we can wait to collaborate again in the future. And to all the participants, thank you for joining this webinar. Don't forget to fill the webinar survey to let us know what you think about this program. so we can evaluate the program in the future to be better. Our team will drop the link for evaluation survey that you can fill in, and also don't forget to fill your name in our guest book. So you can check the link in here. Please show the slides. Okay. All right. Next. I think it is the last slide. The second last slide. All right. Yep. So this is the webinar survey. Yeah, our team already put the link in the chat box. Also, don't forget to fill the guest book that we will send you the e-certificate based on what you fill in the form. Please write your name correctly and your email. And also all the materials will be sent to you with the e-certificate to your email. To all the panelists, would you mind to maybe drop your emails in the chat box so that everyone in this Zoom meeting, if they have any questions in the future, or maybe they will ask to you after this webinar. If you don't mind, you can put your email in the chat box. Yeah, thank you, Mrs. Sariwa. Yeah, Mr. Andrianto, thank you very much. All right, thank you very much to all the panelists. Once again, thank you everyone for your participation, especially the OIC-CERT country members and also the Secretariat, Mrs. Noraini, and also our team, IDCERT team, who are working here for the webinar. I hope to see you again soon in other occasion. Have a good day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Maybe before we end this session, we can open the camera so we can take a screenshot, taking picture together. All right. Our team will take a screenshot in here. Okay. How many pages we have? 4. All right. The first pages. Okay, show your smile. 1, 2, 3. All right. Second page. 1, 2, 3. Third page. 1, 2, 3. Okay, last one. 1, 2, 3. All right. Already done? Yeah. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for coming. Bye-bye.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.